Are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
stop your bigoted stuff. Good evening and welcome to Weaving Web3 with me, James.
Me, Chris.
I mean, Stash.
That feels normal. Last week, Stash swimming
Yeah.
in, stealing my job.
Whoa, that's
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I know.
I was like, which place do I go? Like, I'm normally second.
That was the thing. I felt honestly very UKIP. I was like coming over here, taking my jobs. But this week we're going to talk about a few bits. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and ETH actually holding their value. We had a spike. Stash told me, sell everything, sell everything, sell everything. Still the same value it was I sold it at, so it's fine. I'll wait. We'll see how that lands. We're also going to talk about a couple of NFT projects that we're very excited about. One of them is Ghost Boys, which is a new project we'll be minting soon. And then the other one is that he's an absolute OG. He loves
I'm
it,
an
cannot
OG.
get enough. Just tweeting at them all day. And the other one is Doodles 2, which is built off the back of Doodles. And talk about the whole ecosystem that they're bringing in. So, boys, if we start off with the Bitcoin, ETH, cryptos in general, do we still think that this is a trap, or do we think this might actually be where the token should be, and that just the black swan of FTX had artificially reduced the market? What do we think?
I'm still not sure.
I'm
After
the same,
listening to people's conspiracies and research, I don't know. I don't think we're out of the water. I really don't think. I think there's going to be more news coming about, I don't know, recessions and stuff like that. That's what I'm hoping. I could be completely wrong. If I'm wrong, that's great. But I don't believe that this is plain sailing from here.
As we said last week, right? When you were talking about it goes quite well with like Bitcoin halving.
Yeah.
And the Bitcoin halving is in December or something like that, right?
No, it's 2024.
Oh, is it 2024?
Yeah,
Yeah,
2024.
I still think we're on track for that. Like the market's going to fluctuate throughout that, but like for a bull run to actually come into effect, it's frustrating because a lot of the tokens that I wanted to buy are going up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh well, I could have bought them before, but I still am not
Keep the
confident.
stables.
Yeah.
I also watched a crypto trade who seems to talk a lot of sense, and I've followed him for like over a year. He mentioning about like something called a dead cat bounce, and historically you've seen it like in the other recessions and financial markets, how this is just a way of, like I said again, like my personal belief, like the market trying to take all of your liquidity and money from the retail traders. Like right now, this is all retail right now.
Well, what's interesting though is I think most people, like retail people like us, are just staying. Like, and weirdly, like obviously, I speak to like a lot of people who are involved in crypto and blockchain day to day. People aren't selling.
Yeah.
Like people who had millions last year and have hundreds of thousands now are like, well, it is what it is. I'm going to wait. It's going to go back up, and I think that's a big difference. Like, I feel like a lot of people. I think as well, a lot of people made so much money of the last run that they're now just faithful. I don't know if that's a weird thing to say.
I'm just thinking to myself here. I'm like, oh, what about the people that have gone from thousands to hundreds and that are still down?
But I also say you then won't sell because you think,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
and that's the thing.
Purely because it's me, because I don't sell anything. we did find out the other day that I'd only ever sold one NFT. So
I just think like when I look at crypto's such a weird one, isn't it? Right, because essentially everyone goes off the stock markets.
Yeah.
But they're not the same.
Yeah.
One is far like they both run on hype, essentially, don't they? Like, oh god, right, if Tesla was a crypto, everyone would be like, that's massively overhyped, it doesn't have any utility, they make like 2 cars and they're all crap. Right? And you could be like, oh, people would be like, oh no, like BMW or like VW, like, oh, VW should be worth way more than Tesla. And you go, well, it isn't though. In the stock market. It's mental, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So there is sort of that aspect to it. But I think with the cryptos, it's even more like that, isn't it? It's even more. Most of them are Tesla. There's minimal utility in bits. But see, I'm not sure about where the market should be. Because if you think about it, the amount of money that's probably pumped into crypto, should Bitcoin have ever been hitting like £16,000? Or was that just because FTX collapsed and a load of people lost faith? And should the bottom really have been 18? That's the difficulty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think think I'm getting quite bullish on ETH, just
Yeah.
with the whole proof of stake thing. We've obviously talked about this before, but like the whole proof of stake thing has kind of changed the game, right? Bitcoin, as you said, it was last week when I was asking where will Bitcoin and the crypto space be in 50 years' time, right? And I think Bitcoin is just getting outdated. Like, sure, 16 is low for Bitcoin. I don't think it should have really reached 16, but I feel like people are looking into other things and like seeing how much better like the technology is. And sort of like CryptoPunks, right? CryptoPunks were got massive purely really because of the fact that they were the first ones to do it, or like one of the first ones. They were the first big like PFP collection, right? And I feel like that's kind of, I mean, they are ancient. They are the equivalent to Bitcoin right now, right? And I feel like eventually the technological advancements are going to take over the vintage stuff.
Yeah.
There is something about first movers advantage though, and just brand, which is what Bitcoin and like Bored Apes have got, isn't it? The thing for me is with like ETH that I'm worried about is there is millions, if not billions and billions of pounds locked up currently in staked ETH, because people offered quite good ETH staking, didn't they, to provide liquidity to stabilize out the transition. So if you think there's billions of pounds of ETH or whatever stacked away that people can't sell because it's long-term staked, what's going to happen when that all gets released?
That is probably going to be released in like March along with this update. I can't remember. Shanghai update, that's the one. So yes, that gets unlocked, but also I was watching a video on this literally like a couple of hours ago, and they were saying the thing is though, sure, some people will be forced to sell and stuff like that because they're waiting on their ETH to get it back so they can like become liquid again, right? But on the other hand, because of the update, there's going to be a lot of hype created. So who's to say that that's not going to balance out a little bit? Sure, it might go down, but it might not have the same impact that you would think because of the buying pressure from all these people seeing, oh, the Shanghai update is great. Yeah.
But there's also the thing of you buy the news, sell when you buy the news.
You don't buy the news.
Sell the news.
I've forgotten how to say it. You buy the news and you sell when let on the release date. Do you get me? A lot of people will be buying up all this good news and hype, and then they'll be selling at the top while people are getting their tokens.
I think for me, just like that's what I worry about is, and I get it, there's hype on one side, but the other side is like people might be like, do you know what? I staked my ETH, I got a 4%, but actually 4% doesn't beat inflation anymore. My token's gone up 30% because I started staking it in June, July, August, September, whatever, up in the run up. They might go, well, if their token's up 30% and they're only getting 4% return, they might just take it out and do something else with it. I mean, there's a much higher paying staking contracts that they can get involved in. Obviously, not as stable as ETH, but that's why I'm not totally bullish on ETH, because there will be this big big influx of tokens that we've never seen before. And that it takes away from the stability a bit, because it was the ETH price artificially kept up by limiting supply. Because if people are using it and billions of the token are tucked away, then obviously people still need to interact, so the value stays up. I don't know.
It is a risk one. You don't really.
There's also the fact that ETH is a deflationary token.
And not yet. There was at one point, the more people that use the network, there was a point it was, and then maybe it is again.
Apparently, that's the idea. That's the plan, or at least like that it's going to. He was covering this in the video that I saw as well, and like it's very new ground having a deflationary token, like something that becomes less and less. Sure, it's not going to be.
Yeah, sorry. Could you just explain how a deflationary token, like, what's the impact of it? Why is that a thing that people would want?
most tokens, and also with everything, like with money, fiat money as well, is inflationary, right? So inflationary means that you can print more in terms of money, like sort of to grow, or for instance with Bitcoin, you mine more Bitcoin gets put on gradually, sort of, and it inflates at a certain rate, which tends towards zero, right? So it will eventually go towards zero, like it's going to be not worth mining at some point, really. But yeah, whereas what ETH are doing is they're burning gradually. So they're burning their token. Rather, they've got their whole ecosystem, and now they're going to be burning tokens at a certain rate, right? I think it's 0.007% or something like that of supply.
Is that annually? Is that?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But yeah, so as they do that, obviously it has the opposite effect. It's at a percentage, so it will never become zero, and it would take thousands and thousands and thousands of years to become zero. But there will be a lower supply, meaning that it will tend in the opposite direction and become more scarce. So that's kind of good for price, right? Because as there is less supply, and even if the demand stays the same,
we're hoping over time more people use Ethereum, there's more money is going to inflow to this, and eventually there's like a balancing system where it should be.
Out of interest, do you two think that Ethereum's usage will go up? Because
definitely.
But in its own right, or do you think as a layer 1 to these new layer 2s? Because to me, like Chris was talking earlier about Polygon, being like, okay, well, Polygon might be far more useful, lower transaction fees, more trades, faster than ETH. So do people actually continue to use the actual Ethereum tokens in the way they use them now? Yes. Or does it become more like Bitcoin?
I believe, well, firstly, with this update, right, with Ethereum 2.0, so the current transaction speed is 30 transactions per second on the Ethereum network, right? So it's very slow. It's a kind of crap. Whereas it's something like 64,000 on the Polygon network.
Yeah,
64,000 transactions per second. That's why they can afford to have like really, really, really cheap transaction rates, because there are more transactions, obviously. So with Ethereum 2.0, I think they're going to up that to something like 100,000.
Yeah.
That's when it's fully completed, but that's like years in the making.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, which it depends as well, like from some of the layer 2s. I'm very pro Arbitrum and Polygon, the 2 layer 2s, but like you might want to choose Ethereum because of its security. For example, if you're building like an app, like if you're, I don't know, some kind of banking firm, you really want that secured, you would more choose Ethereum compared to most layer 2s. I personally feel, because no one's ever hacked Ethereum, and it's very hard. Yeah, you paying that extra for the security.
Also, I thought Ethereum had a very large hack, didn't they? Where they took back the blockchain. They rolled back, didn't they, back in the day?
That was back in the day, but that was thinking like really early on, where it's near impossible to do now.
Ethereum is more mature, isn't it? Like that's the main thing. Although I sometimes don't think that bigger and more mature does actually mean more secure, because like you're also in the headlights of a lot more people. Do you know what I mean? I bet Apple gets way more attempted hacks every year than like a website I set up.
Yeah, but the thing with the blockchain, right? They can't effectively really hack the blockchain, because the blockchain cannot be changed unless you do a 51% attack. 51% attack, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically if 51% of all the validators on something say that something is incorrect, they can change the blockchain, basically. But that would require 51% of all validators to do that. Like, people don't have that kind of money just to hack the Ethereum system, right?
Yeah.
But technically, one thing to mention with this staked Ethereum, I think pretty much most of the Ethereum that is staked is controlled by the same few validators, like is it Lido? So the staking, they control majority of this, all of the staked ETH, like Coinbase and like the top three. And right now, it's not very like. I'm not saying that they could, but imagine, let's say Coinbase and whatever. Some people be like, okay, let's change the whole. It is possible.
I'm always concerned about the large exchanges because, like Chris has said, right, so you got a 51% attack, but actually these guys control a lot of the nodes, and collusion would not be that difficult. I'm not saying they will do this or they would, but like you saw people doing proof of reserves, firms sending the same Ethereum or the same Bitcoins around. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Yeah,
they would, and it was like, but we can see what you're doing. But it's that sort of collusion that makes you just go like, I'm not sure I trust these guys at all, really.
That's why self-custody is the most key.
Absolutely, but it's interesting.
Scam. Let's get out. What are we doing?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Like I think about it this way: like you have to go outside to live your life, but outside is dangerous. Like you can't just sit in your house all the time. And like, absolutely, keep all your expensive stuff in your house, but well, no, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Like, you've got to interact with other people. I think there is an element of danger in it. I don't know. For me, the way that I could see ETH going is they're having to adapt themselves, aren't they, to fit in with their layer twos?
Yeah,
almost. I think when we hit the point where transaction fees are, because at the moment transaction fees are hideous. Like they really are though. Like if your bank charged you fees like this, you'd be like, you wouldn't stand for it. And I think that now these companies have got the sort of money, they can reduce those fees. But then I wonder, are we ending up with a bank again? I don't know. It's not the worst thing
the end goal, my ideal blockchain is feeless. That's what it should be, I think.
Is what?
Feeless.
Oh, I thought you said something else beginning with
oh, sorry.
Just always got on your mind.
But if you think about it, you want to use a network where you don't, like, at the end of the day, I've paid hundreds of pounds just to transfer, and yeah, I understand like you have to pay for like people, because like people need to earn money and stuff. But if you think about it, if you truly want mass adoption in the crypto sphere, you don't want to be paying gas for everything, do you? You don't know. And like truly, like there are projects out there that I do think have like big potential futures that have gasless transactions. And like I found something I don't know how to properly say it. I say scale, SKLE.
I think it's
scale. And like I tried it out, and it's like it's a layer 2 for Ethereum, and it's multi-chain, but you have something called S fuel. You just get it from a faucet, and that uses to pay your transactions, but it's free. And I think that kind of level of like technology needs for the true mass adoption of massive, because if you think about it, like the people who live in like poorer countries kind of like those gas fees are pretty much their day's wages or something like that. So you're like, in order to create innovation for those who genuinely need it more than us and in our cozy houses, those people need the blockchain to give them that power. Do you get me?
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you mean. At the end of the day, no one wants to pay gas.
Yeah.
I've just calculated from all my NFT transactions how much gas I've spent.
How did you do that?
Well,
so spreadsheets.
Got it all in my spreadsheet.
Spreadsheets.
I have spent a total of 0.3 ETH. And
that's a lot of money. And you spent a lot of that in the bull market last year.
It's on about 40 transactions.
Can I say though, it's not sunken costs.
Yeah.
Being very accountancy about it, what you should do if you're using accountancy software is you can assign that cost to part of your base cost of purchasing your NFT, so that when you have a capital gain, you don't lose that 0.3 ETH. You essentially get that off your gain.
So is that all gas fees? All gas fees.
That's all the gas fees that I've spent on the transactions for the NFTs that I
Because that would make more sense, wouldn't it? I thought you could do that.
So when I talk about fees, I don't want to get too inside baseball with it, but in the UK, if you were buying an asset, let's say you're buying a vase, and to buy that vase, you have to pay a delivery fee, right? You're buying like a $6 grand vase, you've got to pay a delivery fee. You can, if it's necessary to get the vase to you in the condition that you need it for it to be usable, you can essentially assign the cost of like the delivery on there as part of the asset. All right. So when you're buying like an NFT, the gas you've had to pay to get the NFT is part of the cost you had to pay to get that asset. So it's directly attributable.
Okay.
Swapping Bitcoin to ETH and it costs you something is just a cost.
Okay.
You can't assign it to the cost of Bitcoin that you've received because Bitcoin has a cost on that day that's publicly available. But with the NFTs, it's quite difficult to say this NFT is worth this on this date. So what you say initially is, what have I paid for it, and what were the fees to get it to me?
Okay, that's
is
good.
what it cost you.
That's good to know.
But like that's something to know that like, if Chris was going to do his tax return, I could have just saved him paying tax on 0.3 ETH.
Which right now is what, like, that's what, 400 quid?
Yeah, absolutely.
450 quid.
So it's bits like that that people need to be aware of.
Mm.
And as I said, we'll probably next week or after that, I'm going to do a little thing about crypto tax and go through some key bits that people can see and show you how in crypto tax software, probably Coinly, because it's free and anyone can get onto it, how to make those transactions flow through like that so that you don't end up, overpaying tax on bits. Because essentially all these softwares say they'll do your tax, whatever, but you actually need to understand how it all flows through and how accounting treatments work to make it work right. But yeah, that's just I'm ahead into tax mode because it's the 26th of Jan or whatever it is when we're recording. I won't spoil the illusion. It's the 1st of February. It's the 1st of February. No, right. So that there is a few bits talking about ETH blockchain and just blockchains in general, a little bit of the pump we're seeing. On to more fun things. Stash is an absolute OG. Right?
I am OG. So I took a screenshot. If you can see,
we should have listened to him, shouldn't we? With the block.
You should have listened to me.
So
I found Ghost Boy. I joined. Oh wait, so Ghost Boy. This is an amazing NFT project founded by the co-founder of Coolcats and Unib, who is an ex Coinbase developer, and he did some developing. He was responsible for Pay SDK. So essentially, they've come together to create a company called Alpha Labs, which is essentially a Web3 venture studio. And essentially, it's an incubator program for the future of interesting Web3 in the area, like products and designs. So their first kind of product that they launched is Blockalizer, which is, I can share my screen, which is a cool way of changing your transaction history into generative art. So basically, for example, you want to commemorate your first ever transaction on the blockchain, which I'm going to do when Gen 2 mints. It will create, God, where is it? Okay, here we go. So this is the NFT project, Ghost Boy. But before this was launched, they launched this, Blockalizer. So essentially, the thing that you see on the right-hand side is the generative art of people, of their transactions. It's randomly generated, but you can also change a few bits of like what 3 color options you had and what kind of styles, if you want some of like the things missed out, like the grayed out or colors. So essentially, I was like, okay, this is something I need to check out. So I unfortunately didn't make the mint, but I purchased one on the secondary market. And then shortly after, I was like, boys, you guys need to get on this project. These founders are legit. Like, I've been following these from when Alpha Labs was created, like last year. And shortly after that,
we said?
Oh no,
we said, Stash. We know you want to make us money, but we can't have the reputation that we have and make money.
No. I'm going to defend us here, Chris, and say that both me and you did not realise what we were getting a mint for.
I
That
did
is
actually
true.
share the
That is
tweet.
also
I
true.
shared the tweet
We're
of
here-
exactly. I will. I know you didn't understand,
We're-
but I shared the tweet to you guys saying so. Basically,
We are here to
Blockalizer-
lead, not to read.
As Logan Paul said to CoffeeZilla in that video, in his apology video, get a good lawyer, Stash, because you're gonna need it.
Yeah, you're gonna need it, Stash. Oh, no,
No,
don't worry,
so-
I'm gonna sue him about this Pocky as well. I'm
No.
at it.
No. So basically, let me get to it. So basically, I said to the Blockalizer, Alpha Labs announced that all Gen 1 holders are going to get a mint spot for Ghost Boy. And shortly after that, the price exploded to 0.3, 0.4 ETH, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, you guys missed out. Sorry. But after that,
It doesn't
shortly,
seem sorry.
I was originally
I'm
like
sorry, but you
I've
guys
been
missed
telling you
out,
to buy
alright?
these projects, and I've been ignored each time.
Well, I bought
But-
one. I bought one, Stash. It's plummeting.
Well,
But get yourself a good
And
lawyer.
you were trying to buy another one today.
Yeah,
weren't
so
you?
there was a riddle a few days ago about getting 200 whitelist spots, which was really cool. It was a Marcus Aurelius quote, but the day before, Ghost Boy posted "What's not immortal can never die," which was the actual answer. He was a twist on the original thing, which one of you guys hopefully got a spot for. I'm hoping.
The answer wasn't what's more that can never die. The answer was the unknown.
Oh, sorry, the unknown.
Yeah.
My
Which
bad,
I-
I'm reading the wrong pin tweet.
Which
You smartly found, because
I
I'm
found
a
it
fan
and
of
sent it to
Marcus
Stash.
Aurelius. I was like, oh, it must be this, but at the end it turned out that. And yeah, after that, the project shot up from like 8,000 followers to 14K. And like I've been shouting about this for weeks, technically months, if you think about Alpha Labs. But yeah, I generally think this is like an amazing community, and like these founders have a reputation. They're not just anybody. They're like people that have, excuse me, I see what you're doing, but like
What's he
what I
doing?
look into a project is he's going like, what I believe in projects is if they have a solid reputation and foundation, that is going to take you away. That is basically your passport into Web3. If you have a reputation and you know what you're doing, you follow those people.
Good. And I was also going to say with these guys, they've been doing a few bits because they did a pre-mint for their whitelist today as well, which I got in on, but I didn't think either of you two got in on there.
I was on my bike.
And Chris didn't have enough ETH. You know, he was slumming it. He was down slumming it.
You know, as I am. I did, however, buy a Karapuru Chopo or whatever it is, the sort of separate thing, the 3D version of it, basically.
Okay.
But then, so basically, you need to. I put in enough ETH to buy the thing, but then in order to open it to get your 3D avatar on Karapuru, right? You need to do a transaction.
Oh dear.
And I didn't have enough.
Please, sir, can I have some more ETH?
Please, sir.
Please.
Yeah, this is not financial advice, but this Ghost Boy project is the next big thing.
This is financial advice. There's something.
Yeah. I was gonna say as well, Stash, can we just have a look at a few of the other art pieces because they've done a few, they've released a few, haven't they?
So
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm still on sharing screen, so people are just be watching my stupid thing. So this is just a little cute boy, a green boy. But my favorite boys are like the sausage dog. I meant the hot dogs.
Yeah. So the unique IP is essentially the mask, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why that's definitely going to be something.
And a cutesy, I guess the cutesy art as well.
Oh, and there's also a competition which ends tomorrow. If you submit your own artwork, you have a potential, if you're a winner, so there's 6 winners, that you'll get airdropped one of these bad boys
please,
into your wallet. I'm also doing one. I'm not going to give you I'm not going to give you a sneak, but you already showed you guys, but I don't want anyone stealing mine. But
well, Stash, by the time this is aired, it'll be closed.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be too worried about giving him a sneak peek if I'm honest, mate.
Oh yeah, let me show you guys.
Chris, record this. We're gonna nab it off him. Yeah, share it up.
Where is he? My artistic skills are like 0, but I've tried really hard because
yours was much better than Chris's.
I really have.
Joking.
Where's Adobe?
I liked Chris's.
It's not.
What's wrong with you? No one else did.
No, I think I genuinely was about. Yeah, I was the only one, but that's all right. I saw a really cool one.
There's so many really cool ones. There's so many people that are better than me at art.
Yeah. Oh my god! Someone actually made like 3D stuff, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Holy moly!" I can't find it. I don't know what's
But
happening.
they don't have the same character as you, Chris. You know, it's not all about the quality of the talent. You know, you're a nice
Alright.
bloke.
I can post it if you like later on the edit on the video. Yeah,
Pop in the edit.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
I just like the play on words, right? So
Yeah.
I made a Ghost Pepper version because Ghost, like the mask is Ghost Boy or whatever, and then
This is it. It's gonna have a little Viking hat I've colored in, but I'm also thinking of maybe getting him like a little torch, so he's like a raider Viking.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, do it, mate.
Thanks.
Well, and what's your play on words?
Yeah.
What's your pun?
Ghost Viking.
Wow!
You could just call him Valhalla. Because like what's dead never dies, or like raiding Valhalla or something like that. Because it's all Ghost Boy is all about like dying, isn't it? And just then popping back up and stuff. But no, right. So that's an upcoming project, and then another upcoming project that Stash spent ages listening to a podcast on was Doodles 2, which is built.
I'm so excited. Doodles 2 is a contender of its own. It's basically becoming its own version of Bored Ape Yacht Club. So basically, they have bought an animation studio that is not just animation, it is a tech studio which they're investing in like new futuristic kind of animation technologies. And essentially, why they've chosen the Flow blockchain is because of the beauties of customization, interoperability, and the way the blockchain is designed. You have unlimited customization. So it's essentially to onboard the next millions of users, because Ethereum is very hard to use. Flow is designed for easier usability, like it's partnered with Instagram, I think Facebook, and some other massive giants. So essentially, you'll be able to have your doodle, customize them with clothes, and they like
So kind of like having your own sort of like, I don't know, avatar in a game.
Yeah, essentially they want it to represent yourself, but in the doodle universe.
Yeah.
But also they tease the way that the whole blockchain, Flow blockchain is designed. You can incorporate assets from other projects, other metaverses, because of how it's the smart contracts, everything is designed. So you could, let's say, this is just out of my head and don't quote me on this, but you could have your doodles with like a gun from Doom or like a helmet from Halo, or just giving you examples. The custom, like the ability is infinite essentially.
For that sort of stuff, would they like, obviously Fortnite does that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and that's what they were teasing as well.
They partner with the people. So wouldn't Doodles have to partner with, I don't know, they want to license a Halo helmet, wouldn't they have to partner with Halo to get that sort of available?
I have no idea. They were only teasing things. Obviously, this is very hush. Some things are hush hush. But like what I learned is, if you have a duplicator, you can duplicate traits from, like, let's say like Moonbirds, which is like a blue chip project, and get some of those traits into your doodle, which will be totally unique for you, and there will be like different types of rarities. And the same with the Genesis boxes. They are some are guaranteed. Okay, I don't want to say guaranteed, but they're guaranteed to have like rare clothing that you will be able to have for your doodles, essentially, that no one else can have. So essentially, the way you get your rarities would be like you customize your doodles, the rarer things it has, like the better things. Like obviously, it's not just for selling, but from like a money-making perspective, you essentially, the more things you have, the more expensive your doodle will be. And when you sell your doodle, it comes with everything. So essentially, you don't lose like, oh, I'm just selling the doodle by itself.
So it's kind of like selling a Fortnite account, right? After you've bought all these like skins and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess that could be it.
Actually, I don't know how to like best describe it, because on Fortnite I don't think you can just sell like skins and stuff like that.
No, you can't. I think you have to sell the whole email address or something like
exactly that. So it's kind of like having that avatar but on the blockchain, and that's like really cool. That can be used for so many different things.
There's an example I see is like in some like Dota 2 that I played an awful lot of. There are some sets in that you have to get like a certain amount of kills in, and then it like updates, it like upgrades. It gets like, oh, the level 1 is like blue, and level 2 is blue with like a little flame, and then bigger and bigger and more advanced. But then if you sell that cosmetic, all your progress goes with it. So if you were to buy another one, you start from nil again. But you could make money doing that. You could farm it up in essence.
I really like that idea because like the earlier you are in, the like there will be like stuff like, oh, you were like the first. You use it in the first year. Those people are only allowed those things. Kind of like like you were saying, the skins or like events, like you were only able to get then. So they will become more rarer over time. And
that's
like I've got
exactly
stuff
what they
from
did.
TF2. I didn't even realize this. I was like, I played when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, it's worth a few quid.
I mean, I've got lots of items in Dota 2 that are worth like maybe like 10, 15 quid, like a single little cosmetic, because I've been playing the game for 10 years, and because you could only get this at this one particular Chinese event in a 3-month period, and you had to pay for a pass to get it or whatever. Like I've got an item, and it's like an in-game item that will never be released again, is not tradable. They do not do it again, but because of the exclusivity of it, now the price goes up. So I would like, if I was in a project like that, potentially to have limited time releases of go, look, we're doing a collaboration with Board Apes, and go right, Board Your Ape Club. But how? But I know which way it is around now, Chris. I know which way it is now.
Oh god,
it's BAYC.
I've got a rare skin on League of Legends. If you want to get rid of that for me, then that would be amazing because it wastes a lot of my time.
It wastes a lot of your time. But so, like, I was going to say in that, like, I think it'd be cool to do a limited edition where it's like, actually, here's a release, X amount of Doodles can buy like a little boat, like a little yacht to go in their background or something, or bits like that.
It's really cool, sort of, when you do research into NFTs and stuff like that. So many comparisons to like Web 2 and like the amount of comparisons that there are, like these things which already exist in the mainstream world and stuff like that are being implemented so much better in Web 3, but people don't understand it and don't like it because they don't understand it. Like, it's just stupid. Like, people are this CSGO stuff, right? Like CSGO gambling and stuff like that, or like selling, oh, I've got a butterfly knife, I can sell it for 500 quid.
Oh yeah, look at that butterfly knife.
Like NFTs.
And literally the same thing. NFTs is just another different name for it. Like they've been happening since the first Steam, whatever. Yeah, wasn't it TF2 or CSGO was the first basically marketplace, right?
Yeah. I mean, Steam's done it for years. It was TF2 was the main one because you used to get drops and you could then sell them and all this sort of stuff. And then CSGO blew up. Like Dota, the items aren't as expensive. Like CSGO's items are, some of them are just
they go for hundreds
expensive.
of thousands of pounds. Like I watched a gun went for £250,000 because it had some 10 of the rarest stickers on there on that one gun, but obviously when you sell it, it's transferable. And then it had like some unique random like splatter on it or something. And I was just like
I'm saying of all the enemies you killed.
No, but like but you get weird things. Like I've got on my profile on Dota, I've got 2 stickers on it because you've got like 3 things you can put on it, and 2 stickers of it for mine, that a team that broke up 8 years ago, because you can't get those. You could only put those stickers on while that team was playing. But that's cool because there's not a chance they ever reform, but it shows that you've been playing forever.
You're an OG. Just like me on Ghost Boy. Ghost Boys forever.
Ghost Boys forever.
But I'm gonna get once I mint it, it's gonna go on here. I've already decided.
Yeah.
Is it?
And my 3 landers are gonna go on here.
I'm gonna sell my Ghost Boy and buy 2 3 landers.
Okay, that's fine. I'll buy it off of you.
3 landers floor price is at like 1.0.
I know. I'm just like, oh, this is a cheeky buy. Like I've been staking mine, and I'm ready to spend my points.
There was one of the. I was looking at the different DNAs, and there was one that was 0.8, which was like there were only 20 of them, and I was like, ooh, that's a good buy. If only I had any money.
Maybe if you sold your Sappy Seal, like I said, you would have been able to afford 2.
Never.
No, it's such a funny one, isn't it? Like I feel like I'm getting quite excited by all the NFT stuff because it's all very new to me.
Yeah.
I'm
Like-
glad. I'm so happy we've been able to show this. Weaving Web3
All,
is going to be the one.
all I need now is to make some money off them, and then I'll be delighted.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Wait,
Chris
does Stash not have a
I
sweet?
know. Okay, everyone, my birthday is in 2 days, and we had to film this on a different day. That's not a Sunday, and I've come straight back from work. So I'm so sorry for disappointing everyone.
Sash works as a tight end, as you can tell from his work uniform. He
And a tight ass for not.
oh Chris,
Oh.
lowering the tone. I mean, we all knew that's what I meant when I said tight end, but right, that has been this week's Weaving Web3 with me, James.
Me, Chris.
And me, Stash. Sayonara.
Have a wonderful week. and
Bye,
buy some
Ghost Boy.
Boys.
Yeah.
Not
Bye,
financial
Ghost
advice.
Boys.
Not
Ghost
financial
Boys.
advice.
Ghost Boys. Ghost Boys.